Click the links to Join Channel here over on Subscribestar. So this movie, I've already talked about it because it's so freaking horrific. But I saw this Mary Sue article, and they do this. They're running cover for Disney and this movie, and they mention every possible reason why the movie underperformed, except for a couple of the very obvious ones. And I'll read their description. So, why did Disney's Strange World underperform at the box office to the tune of, it was like $180 million movie? I didn't know animation budget had crept up that high. That seems that seems that seems very, very expensive. Like, isn't the whole point of computers and CGI and animation like that's done on a computer? To wouldn't you be able to lower the price? Apparently not. I kind of look back at like old animation. What would they call that? Like closed cell animation or something? Or look at the stuff South Park was doing. It's like I can't imagine they were spending this kind of money, but apparently this is what Disney is spending, or at least Pixar's subsidiary of Disney. So, and it absolutely, absolutely tanked. And it's one of the biggest box office flops in Disney's history. And as I've said before, I'll say again: Star Wars, all the Disney subsidiary companies, Star Wars, even Marvel, whatever is under that umbrella, even Disney itself, I think it's a dead brand. And I think you're going to see that in the future. I don't see them away. I don't see a way for them to turn this around. It doesn't matter Chapek or Igar. And there's an interesting thing going on with Larry Fink at BlackRock and FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried to somehow tie it in with Fink and Disney, and they're thinking about selling to Apple for $2.3 trillion. And then you got Elon Musk, and like relatively speaking, the Tesla, SpaceX companies are a tiny drop in the bucket compared to Apple. But he's got this, and Apple's coming out with an Apple Car, right? It's going to be like a Tesla clone. But he's got the phone coming out. He's got like a Tesla ecosystem that's coming out, and there's this huge overlap of the people who are into Apple, which is a high dollar brand, are also very publicly saying on Twitter that they would be willing to switch over to Tesla phones and Tesla tablets and laptops, and that stereo, wireless speakers, and like there's this huge brand out there, and they go, oh, well, look what happened when Microsoft and Amazon tried to get into it. Yeah, Twitter has a built-in audience. It's something that no other company has. And then Musk himself, I know the past week I've been sounding like a fanboy, but he has a cult of personality behind him. There's like, there's seeing the naysayers on Twitter. I want to screen cap this stuff and be like, okay, let's come back in 2 years and see how the Tesla phone did. And no guarantees, but still, I kind of people were putting up designs of what the phone would look like, and it's like there's a lot of energy behind that right now. Anyway, so Disney's this is going to lose $150 million, going to be the biggest box in their history for a while. But their description of it is what made me do the video, because it says it's a fun animated flick with a heartwarming message about family at its center. And again, if you have this discussion with them, I'd say, hey, listen, can we have this talk without an ad hominem, without emotional arguments? Can we just talk about the movies and without personal insults? And they're looking you in the eye and they go, that's just a bridge too far. You're asking the impossible of me. If I can't have personal insults and call you Hugo Boss and istophobic, well, I can't have this conversation. It's like, okay, but is there any way that doesn't, but like it doesn't, that you can't force people to go see your propaganda movies. So as they describe the movie in their own words, it's a step forward in representation for Disney. Okay, well, I hate representation, and this obviously is not a movie about for families, because this is about, in my mind, the left-hand path away from families. Features an openly BLT teenager. Okay, well, I'm not into that, and I wouldn't want anyone. That's a strike against it. A intertribal couple. Well, that's another strike against it for other reasons, because it feels like you're pushing propaganda to me, because that's exactly what you're doing. And it's a series of Venn diagrams where as you overlap these, as you create these circles, you get a smaller and smaller percentage of people who want to see your stuff. And this is what I mean with the ad hominem, is you have one honest person, I'm just being honest, Nazi said what, who's saying this on social media. It's like, it's not just one subjective asshole in Hugo Boss who's saying this. Like, the objective facts back this up. It doesn't matter the vibe of the person who's saying it. They're telling you the truth. It doesn't matter the source. If they're telling you the truth, it's like left wing or right wing, istophobes or not, Nobody's watching this stuff. It's like, oh hey, so BLT theme. That reminds me of something. What else has been coming out lately? Didn't that Eichenwald or Eichner guy, he made a Bros movie? I know there's independent, but it was a BLT movie. It had the BLT themes on it. It's like, oh, it was kind of like a fun '90s theme, kind of harmless. No, it was degenerate. Oh, so how'd it do? Not too well. Not too well. $22 million movie, $30 million in advertising. I think it made $5 million the opening weekend. It's probably set to lose 30 million, $40 million. Oh, so that just came out like a few months ago. So we're making another BLT movie. So what are the odds it's going to do well? Well, not the odds aren't too good because the Disney crowd is, it's like you had the dust up with DeSantis in Florida, and people the pendulum is starting to swing back, and marketing research knows that. Like, you talk to people about movie ideas, and like, a movie for the family, but it's got these BLT intertribal themes. Oh, well, we're not into that. Those don't represent our values. Oh, well, you're istophobic. Like, yes, but you're calling everyone that, and it doesn't matter. It's the Venn diagrams of people who are into all these things. Listen, you can do a little woke in movies, but you can't check all the boxes. You can check one box. If you want to have a BLT minor character in a movie, that's it. You've checked the one box. That's all you can do. You want to have intertribal. Very few people are into the intertribal stuff, because when it's organic. But there's nothing in Hollywood. They can't do anything organic. Like, you put a briefcase of money in front of me and say, okay, we want you to write this thing with all these themes in it, the BLT, the intertribal stuff, and the three-legged dog. It's like, well, yeah, there's plenty of three-legged dogs. Yes, I could put all those things in a story, and it because it wouldn't be pandering. It wouldn't be these insanely woke purse puppies where, like, the characters are completed characters, because you can't have a POC character that goes through a redemption arc or anything like that. My point is, you're doing too much BLT and intertribal. So you have these Venn circles, and the overlap is $18 million. And like, I know they want to attack the messenger who tells them this, and it's the meme of they're at the top story of a building, and they're sitting around a boardroom table, and the one person who comes out with like pragmatic advice just gets thrown out the window. And it's like, well, there's none of those guys sitting at any of these kind of meetings, because they're just weeded out before they even get to that point. Like, if you hear some of the Zoom talks behind these the people who work for the women who work for these woke corporations, you hear them and realize, oh, you guys are going to burn these companies to the ground, and you'll pat yourself on the back, really thinking, like, everyone who's at these corporations, they're all basically like the same people who write for the Mary Sue. Anyway, so the anti-woke crowd was laughing about the box office. It bombed. It's like, yeah, but they weren't going to go see the movie anyway. The anti-woke crowd, yes, but your crowd didn't see the movie because nobody saw the movie. Nobody saw Bros. Oh, the Middle America didn't go see my Bros movie. He made $5 million the opening weekend. That means a couple of San Francisco theaters returned, that Santa Monica and LA, and then a couple in New York, a couple of gay cities, the gay districts of big cities in America, a couple of those, that got you that $5 million. It's like, buddy, not even all of San Francisco saw your movie. It's like the Castro saw that movie, and even then, it's like, I went and I sat in the back of the Castro theater. It's like, yeah, what did you expect? Santa Monica, Castro, I don't know, other parts of the country. Yeah, every town's got. There's even a little Santa Barbara little district. It's like, yes, every little town has its little subsection of this. It's like, but you were marketing to like a strictly a gay crowd with the most unlikable characters on earth, and then you went online and had a meltdown over it. Anyway, so my point is like, it's not just the anti-woke crowd that's not seeing your stuff, because nobody's seeing your stuff. And then they talk about the lack of advertising. Okay, so that is kind of a more interesting story, because when they made the movie, they knew the movie was going to bomb, but there's lead time before you sit down and you come up with the idea of the movie, then you make the movie, and that lead time, the pendulum, the cultural temperature of the cultural waters changes very, very rapidly. So it's possible, if the lead time of a movie is a year, that yes, a lot can change in a year. But even when they were making this movie, like, this wasn't going to do well, even when they were plotting the thing out. So why'd they make it in the first place? And then why did they advertise it? Maybe because I don't know. I will say that that part doesn't make a whole lot of sense because even if you advertise it's a $180 million movie, minimum is going to have $100 million, $200 million advertising behind it. They didn't do that because by the time it came out to advertise, they probably realized the movie was going to be a bomb no matter what. So it's better not to throw good money after bad. So but they're trying to blame it on the advertising. And then they're talking to all these people who said we would have loved this movie. It's like just shut the f up. Nobody want to see this movie. And then they're talking about all the things like inflation. That's not Biden's fault, but if it turns around, then it'll be to Biden's credit. But all the other events they're talking about, well, that deals with every single movie, and they're talking like I remember Maverick came out and a bunch of other movies came out, and Maverick did really well, and all these other movies underperformed. And they're trying to talk about all these factors that go into movies. You're like, yeah, but like none of the things you're saying make sense when you have one movie that does really, really well. So I mean, you ask them to explain this stuff, and anyway, at no point are these people going to dial into the real world. Um, Nowhere through this article are they does she go through and talk about, here's the chick who wrote it, does she go through and talk about, actually she was like kind of a classic, like out of a classic European painting. Now that I think about it, um, it looks like she was going for a certain look from, I don't know what time period that is, but to her credit, I think she nailed it. um, she goes through everything except for saying like, yeah, this doesn't represent the family values of the people who saw it, who didn't see it. It doesn't represent the values. And it's like there's nowhere in the Mary Sue where they will talk about that, where they will say, yeah, it doesn't seem like people are into gay teenagers and interracial couples. Yeah. And listen, I'm not putting a judgment call on this. That's a mistake the left wing makes. Like they immediately deflect an ad hominem. I'm just telling you, I'm telling you what is. It's like, yeah, hey, if you keep a crocodile in your house, the statistical odds of that thing tearing your leg off pretty high. Crocodile phobes said what? Like, no, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm not advising you to do it or not do it. I'm just saying if you have this image of yourself tying two great white sharks together, like you're some Nemo or something, and cruising around the ocean, riding these sharks, they're probably just gonna tear you to pieces. What's a great white? Calcarodon? Phobe said what? Like I don't. I think we're on different pages here. I think we're radically. Her eyes are mesmerizing me. This is a pretty good image. Every once in a while, people seem to mail a certain look. I don't know if I like the tangents coming off the background, but anyway, what is it? Calcardon? What is it? Great white. Great. So whatever Latin for great is, white, and then I don't know, maybe big mouthed or whatever the fin. It's anyway. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.